Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today. Carasoft Technology would like to welcome you to our ServiceNow Federal Tech Talk, Modernizing Public Sector Health Service and Program Delivery. Joining us today with ServiceNow, we have Nick Cabrera, Federal Customer Experience Workflows, Mike Lucy, General Manager, Healthcare and Life Sciences Industry, and Dr. Chaitanya Dahagam, Advisory Pre-Sales Solutions Consultant, Customer Workflows. Before we get started, I would like to quickly go over a few housekeeping items. Please notice that all lines have been muted to reduce any kind of background noise during the presentation. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, please use the Q&A feature on the bottom of your screen, and we will do our best to answer by the end of the presentation or follow up with you offline. This webinar is being recorded and a copy will be emailed to you. Just to tell you a little bit about Carasoft, we are a trusted government IT solutions provider supporting public sector organizations across federal, state, and local government agencies, including education and healthcare markets. At this time, I'd like to hand the floor over to our speakers. Nick, the floor is all yours.
Thanks, Sarah, and appreciate everyone's time this afternoon. So to kick things off today, we'll be examining the critical role of digital advancement in public healthcare. And we'll go through ServiceNow strategies for modernizing current health services and program delivery within the public sector. So our focus will be on actionable insights and ServiceNow capabilities to elevate that public healthcare experience. So we'll be discussing innovative technologies and the direct impact on service delivery, making sure that the federal healthcare space is ready for those future demands. So on behalf of ServiceNow's team, thank you for joining us and looking forward to the discussion. I'll quickly highlight the agenda for the remainder of the hour. So we'll begin by outlining the digital health platform capabilities, and we'll be detailing the foundations of our solutions. After that, we'll discuss use cases, highlighting the challenges faced in the industry, the benefits realized, and lessons learned through real-world applications. We'll then examine the role of GenAI in enhancing health service and program delivery, emphasizing its transformative potential. And then we'll be following that up with a demo around clinical device management. So we'll be able to show our platform capabilities in action. And then at the end, we will conclude with a Q&A session. So feel free to chime in at any point, but also more than happy to address questions at the end. Really quick, this is our safe harbor. So as a publicly traded company, we always have to put this out there. So this just states that if you have any questions, if you do want to move forward towards some sort of procurement or follow-up information, please reach out to myself or your individual account executive to make sure that you have the latest and greatest knowledge and SKUs, as we may have some forward-looking statements here around future releases. So kicking off, as we dive deeper into the core of what drives our public sector health initiatives, we'll anchor the discussion around the key priorities that we see are shaping the healthcare landscape today. So first and foremost, we recognize the critical need to strengthen our nation's public healthcare infrastructure. And ServiceNow's platform is uniquely designed to fortify that backbone of public health. We're enabling agencies to respond more quickly to health crises and maintain that well-being for our citizens. Enhancing patient safety and experience is not just a goal, but a fundamental right. So our digital workflows are patient-centered, reducing errors and providing a more holistic and personalized healthcare journey. The advancement of scientific knowledge and innovation is really at the heart of what we do. So by leveraging our platform, agencies can foster an environment where data is not only secure, but also a catalyst for medical breakthroughs and innovation. Efficiency, transparency, and accountability and effectiveness, they're not just buzzwords to us, they're pillars of trust in the public healthcare programs. So our solution delivers on these principles, making sure that each dollar is accounted for, each program is transparent, and each outcome is measured. And finally, we understand the importance of coordinated and integrated care. Our platform breaks down silos, allowing for seamless interaction and collaboration across various health systems, ensuring that care is happening in a coordinated effort. So let's break down the concept of a digital health platform. At its core, it's an architectural blueprint designed to rapidly deploy digital capabilities through our modern cloud services. And this is critical in healthcare, where agility and accuracy are paramount. Firstly, our data fabric is the foundation. What we mean by that, it's our data model and integration network. So think of it as our central nervous system of healthcare IT. And this allows for seamless data exchange and integration across multiple disparate systems. This ensures that healthcare providers have the right information at the right time in order to make life-saving decisions. Next, we've constructed pre-built business capabilities or pre-configured workflows, as we'll dive a little deeper into. These are like a preset tracks on a race course. So it's guiding the flow of operations without the need for time-consuming setup. And this means that agencies, payer, and providers can hit the ground running with workflows that are already optimized for their unique needs. And lastly, industry-specific data connectors will serve as the specialized tools in our tool set. So they're designed to interface with specific data ecosystems in the healthcare and life sciences space, ensuring that data not only flows freely, but also securely in a compliant and in compliance with industry standards. So in essence, as we move forward, a digital health platform, it's not just about having that digital presence. It's about really harnessing the technology to deliver healthcare services that are more intuitive, efficient, and aligned with the needs for modern patient and healthcare providers. And as we move forward, we'll show you how these components come together to create that seamless experience. As we navigate today's discussion, we're looking at a familiar architecture to those who have worked with ServiceNow over the years. So this framework is really the backbone of our platform. It's designed to unlock value from existing investments while simultaneously creating new and compelling digital experiences. So while each component of this architecture plays a critical role, our focus today zeroes in on the customer and industry workflows on the top left. This is where ServiceNow will excel in this space. We're providing tailored solutions that resonate with specific industry needs. So here we're not just meeting expectations, we anticipate and shape them as we go, delivering these experiences that are transformative as they are intuitive. So as we move forward, we'll concentrate today how customer and industry workflows are driving change and setting new standards for our customers and industry engagement. So starting from the bottom, at the bedrock of our ServiceNow's offerings is a Now platform. And what that really is an agile foundation that seamlessly brings together workflows and integrations. It's really the digital underpinning that enables everything from web and mobile applications to advanced AI and machine learning analytics. It ensures that every piece of the healthcare puzzle is interconnected, from the CMDB to the App Engine Studio, really fostering that environment where innovation thrives. Moving upwards, we see the IT workflows on that second layer, and it's our framework that ensures IT services are not only running, but also evolving with the needs of healthcare. So that's things like incident and problem management. Those are streamlined, change management is simplified, and release management is executed with precision. Above that layer of IT is where our customer workflow stands, and it's a testament to our commitment to experience and engagement. So here at ServiceNow, we're transforming the landscape of customer service with omni-channel engagement, case management, and knowledge communities, making sure that each interaction is personalized and impactful. And then this is where this gets fun. So transitioning to the specialized layer of healthcare and life sciences service management, we embed the healthcare data model directly into our workflows. So with Patient 360 and consent management, healthcare providers can gain a comprehensive view of the patient journey, making sure that care is both informed and compliant. And at the pinnacle, we have our healthcare and life sciences applications. So those are solutions that are designed to tackle the industry's most pressing challenges. From what we see, starting from the left, vaccine administration management to pre-visit management, patient support services, and custom applications that are all built on HL7 FHIR standards and a Red Cap framework. So we're ensuring at ServiceNow that these healthcare organizations are equipped to provide exceptional care in a really increasingly digital world. And just to conclude, before we get into the what we're seeing in the industry, a practical application of our digital health platform is what you're looking at now, and it's from an operational efficiency perspective. So in the complex ecosystem of healthcare, from home health to high-tech devices, the challenge is to work and connect, in concert, not in silos. And that's where ServiceNow will step in. So we enable parallel work streams without the typical data management obstacles. So to visualize, imagine a healthcare environment where providers, care plans, labs, hospitals, payers, and devices will all speak the same language. where data will flow unimpeded across the continuum of care. This is what we'll facilitate, a symphony of interoperability and streamlined processes. So at the heart, you see the core processes managed by ServiceNow, from patient and clinician onboarding to engagement, from care coordination to enterprise operations, all the way through issues and device management. These processes are vital for that smooth operation of healthcare services that need to run in parallel and deliver that best patient care. And moreover, our platform is really versatile. It integrates seamlessly with the industry-leading systems. So at the bottom, you see here from CRM tools like Salesforce and Dynamics 365 to EMRs like Epic and ERPs. Even HR systems like Workday and partner systems like SharePoint are interconnected. So this integration capability breaks down these traditional barriers, allowing healthcare professionals to access and utilize that full spectrum of patient data, enhanced decision-making, and ultimately leading to better patient outcomes. So I'll wrap it up. In essence, what we're not offering is not just a platform, but an ecosystem enhancer. And this is a tool that you can use to bring together the many facets of healthcare delivery. And in turn, that'll deliver that better healthcare experience for all. So I will transition over to Mike, who will go over what we're seeing in the industry, some use cases, and the role of GenAI is fostering our advancement in our healthcare solutions.
All right, thank you, Nick. And Nick, you mind driving as we keep going here, or would you like me to present from my machine?
I can drive, so.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Thank you. So I see we got a good group on 30 plus people on the call today. So thank you all for joining. My name's Mike Lucy. I look after the healthcare and life sciences space as a general manager. What that means is my team is responsible for developing the solutions and the products that we bring to market that solve problems across provider, payer, and life sciences. So these are some of the stats in terms of our customer base worldwide. Here's the main takeaway from this slide as we talk through the rest of it is ServiceNow is deeply integrated. And in many places we started in IT, but that has expanded quickly to many other parts of the business. And because we have such a broad global lens between private sector, public sector, and really all elements of what goes into delivering care at the end, we have what we feel is a unique advantage in terms of the problems that we see and where we bring that platform to solve these problems. Next slide. So as we look about solving problems, whether that is, again, public or private, I think as you develop solutions for a space, you should always have a belief. And so our belief around the future is that healthcare becomes more decentralized. And as it becomes more decentralized for all parties that contribute, whether it's creating therapeutics to delivering the care to paying the bills, it will become far more complicated. And that complication is going to come from the sheer volume of people that need care, the number of devices that continue to show up, and we'll talk more about devices in a demo and how that role kind of plays out, that the number of people that are providing care, and we see this across our customer base today, and we'll talk through a couple examples here, that the roles that people are playing are starting to evolve. And that directly impacts how we need to manage specifically workflows on how they engage to one, increase the quality of the care, and two, decrease the cost of delivering that care through efficiency. And that we know, whether it was during the pandemic or then fast forward to today, that care won't only be delivered in the four walls of a primary institution that used to be the main place everybody went. And we see that spreading out. And so that really impacts all different agencies. It impacts the mission of government, and it also impacts the mission of the private sector as well. And so we'll talk through with what Nick covered, that how that flows across IT, employee, and really those end user experiences. Next slide. So I put this slide in here in terms of thinking about solutions. Remember, I'd said my responsibility is around the solutions and then specifically the underlying products that go with it. I put in a slide for providers. We have those same slides for organizations that would really be considered life sciences or supporting life sciences. And then we also have a similar view for payer. I just didn't have the time to cover all of that today. But as you look through leveraging workflows, so Think about the core of ServiceNow and workflows in general, where backend used to be IT primarily focused. It's all about how do I ask another person system or another person's system or device to do something? How do I track the linkages and dependencies that go across all of those different silos? And then how do I orchestrate that as efficiently as possible? And if you abstract the concept of like IT service management to those three items that I called out, what we're seeing in our customer base is there's a lot of opportunities to improve, one, clinical operations or even drug development operations, patient navigation. So how do you get people to the right place at the right time and do it efficiently? And in many cases, that means moving care out to the edge. That's where the care continuity piece comes in. So think now we're talking field service capabilities, traditional workflow capabilities, patient engagement capabilities. And then the two bottom layer items are still building off of that base of managing the IT stack and then helping onboard and offboard specifically regulated employees. And so across this whole ecosystem, we've been developing solutions specifically over the last 4 years that get highly nuanced in this space. Next slide. So here's another kind of view of what that looks like. So there's two primary products today in market from ServiceNow in this space. So one is around service management, and the other one is around device management. And so from the service management perspective, the idea that you're onboarding, you're orchestrating, you're streamlining the delivery of that care, you're extending it all the way out to the home or some other site, and that the back end of the enterprise operations are all being connected together. That is how we've been tying all these different pieces. And so where Nick was talking about, the different areas, he's right. Like it's one holistic view that we have that says we know our customers today have many different trading partners in their interactions, and that there's an important part to play from going from back, middle, and front office, and then all the way back to back office. And so service management is delivering on that. The second slide here, which focuses on device management, and we'll spend more time in the demo on this. This is around everything that goes into devices. You could think of that as like, some of the traditional wearable devices, but we've put a lot of time and effort over the last couple of years to focus on medical devices. So whether that's MRI machines to dialysis machines to anything else in between, what we've heard from our customers is, hey, this is a big problem. It's a big problem because we don't really know what we own. And so there's problems with how we manage capital around these expenses. We also see that there's a pretty big risk tied back to our PHI information, because when we're not managing these devices well, it creates entry points for bad actors to go after PHI. And then the third piece is these devices are critical in terms of being maintained the right way for patient safety. And so this notion of protect the data, protect the patient, and protect the capital all become a fundamental piece on where we're tying in that experience again, IT, device, incident, case, all the way out to the edge with the engagement. Next slide. So let's go through a couple examples. I'll cover some provider examples, but I'll also talk through, I have some life science examples later. And then, if there's questions that come up while we're presenting, feel free to put them in the Q&A section. I'll be happy to answer them. So here's an example from left to right. So talk through what EMR help is for a second, and then we'll actually just look at some of the customer slides that give more examples of what was done in there. EMR help is the ability to leverage ServiceNow to be essentially that help function. So think incident and case, but to be able to raise requests about different things directly in the electronic medical record. It doesn't have to be limited to the electronic medical record. We see other customers looking to embed that in different portals that they have. But this is where, how do we help those that are providing care or working on providing care to not be distracted by bringing them out of the system that they normally work in? And so that is a full-fledged incident case capability directly embedded in like Epic and Cerner. We spent the last couple of years building out integrations, building out the HL7 fire data model. During that time, we also we worked through partnerships to make sure that we could do integrations in some of the most meaningful medical record systems that exist today. One thing that's very unique for ServiceNow, actually globally, is almost all the different organizations that build solutions for healthcare and life sciences also happens to be a ServiceNow customer. And so it gives us a unique advantage is how we work to do integrations and make sure that we're being thoughtful about the end-to-end experience. We'll talk about Oslo next, but I'll hit real quick on Gold Coast. So Gold Coast is a government agency, actually in Australia, where they wanted to bring care out to the edge. They wanted to remove they have a wound care management focus where being able to document what's going on out at the edge while care is being delivered to the home or another site, document what they're actually treating, take images of that, and actually feed it back into their medical record system. And so beyond that, they've also gone and looked at anywhere that they have paper in their process around care delivery and called it a project of digital liberation and making sure that they can digitize all things that have previously been paper-based. And we know there's still a lot of paper-based systems that are out there. Nick, if you wouldn't mind going forward, we'll talk through, I got a couple slides in here. So this one, another government example included outside the US market. So this is, for Norway, the problem they have is 4,000 surgical slots get wasted every year. So think patient is slotted for surgery, they cancel for some reason a few days in advance, and the health system is saying, hey, I have this capacity, but I have no way to tie the demand and the available capacity together. And so we worked on a solution here that goes and inventories the available capacity of the surgical theaters, the devices, the clinicians, so surgeons and beyond, and then we'll dynamically match that. And we did this actually with a partner with KPMG to dynamically match that to the next citizen waiting for surgery that matches the services that are available. From that point, once it's actually selected, it then goes and kicks off as a workflow of patient engagement to start capturing consent and preparing with knowledge that patient to come in to receive their care. Next slide. So this one is outside the hospital, and you think of this as, we see this with organizations that are lab focused to home care focused to, it could even be all the way out to clinical trial focused, but Alara Caring is an organization that provides home care, so non-clinical types of use cases where they struggled to find workers. And so one of the things that they used ServiceNow for was to go and simplify the process of recruiting people to become a worker and streamline the process of becoming a worker tied to Alara Caring. They operate in multiple states, and since every state has different rules on what it means and how to be credentialed to actually provide these services, they needed a system that was flexible to accommodate different rules based on location to recruit and then get those folks ready to provide, care services. Once they're actually recruited and brought in, their ServiceNow is tying in where the demand is for services, and then is going and help, similar to like the Oslo example, where there's an opportunity to dynamically route that worker to make sure that they can touch as many lives as possible while they're out for the day, and also streamline the process for the company so they're not wasting resource and time and cost to deliver that care. It actually helps them also maximize their reimbursements because they're driving a ton of efficiency. And I think that's really what we're all looking for is, can we get rid of a lot of the inefficiency in this process? Next slide. So these are some of the life science use cases. And so many may not know this, but from a ServiceNow perspective, long before we even built some of our healthcare and life science capabilities, we've had organizations, and I have a slide here for Siemens, I also have one for TriMedics, that are using the platform to go and actually drive all of the work around devices that are out in the field. And so that means from the, hey, we need to do preventative maintenance to we need to go and we see that there's a problem. We need to proactively go and resolve that problem to I'm actually going to need to request parts to address that problem and closing the loop. This is about making sure that these devices are available. This is about making sure that these devices are safe. And this is about making sure that as an organization that's providing services back out to others that are actually providing the care, that they're doing it in a way that's cost effective, that's not going to just keep passing cost along the system, that really goes back to be a burden on the citizens of this country. Next slide. Avka, similar example, right? ServiceNow enables simplification, standardization, and consolidation after sales service management. So you'll see whether it's the Siemens Healthineers one, the AGFA, or the next slide, if you wouldn't mind going forward to TriMedics. TriMedics is a larger service provider back to the greater ecosystem of managing these devices. Number of these customers actually started early with us, long before we built all of these additional pieces. We've made a ton of investments here to make it much easier to do this work, and also to connect device, patient, and employee, clinician, and the broader ecosystem together. And so I think the next slide should be off to the demo. And I'd like to, last thing, we can skip this Laura Caring slide and we can go over to the demo. Yeah, so I'll end here. Oh, one back, please, Nick. So I think I'll pass it over, and this is just the set the stage for when we're talking about what does it mean to manage clinical devices with the platform and tie, asset management and service management, all these things together in a complete way. This is how we think end to end about this. It's the inventory, the deployment, the servicing, the decommissioning, and then also the engagement that goes back out to the edge. So from that, I'll hand it off here, and then I'll be available for questions till the end.
Thank you, Mike. And thank you, Nick, and thank you, Sarah. This is Chaitanya Dahagam. I'm going to be taking over the demo here, so I'm just going to take the screen share. And if folks can just let me know that if they can see my screen, if the transition worked. Nick or Sarah?
We're all set.
Perfect. Perfect. Very quickly, I'm going to go through a couple of slides to set the stage for the demo that I'm going to be doing. My name is Chaitanya Dahagam. I'm a HCLS specialist and advisory solutions consultant here at ServiceNow. I'm also a licensed physician with a background in general surgery, and so I do have a clinical perspective for all the demos that I bring or that I deliver. So very quickly, I think Nick may have already covered this first one, but just to emphasize that everything that I'm going to demo is actually live, real product. It's stuff that you could go and pull down and set up your own ServiceNow environment, and you could actually build and configure some of the stuff that I've done, if not all of it. We are a platform for provider workflows. So those of you who are familiar with ServiceNow, you do have the ability to extend your existing capabilities. I know there was a question about ServiceNow modules and so forth, but we have a variety of modules that can extend your existing implementations to support what I'm going to be showing you. The demo that I'm going to do for you is very, very focused, and I'm going to just show a quick slide as to what I typically cover in my clinical device management demos. The first, we have an experience or a persona from what we call the portal side or the requester side. This is where an end user, perhaps a clinician, a non-clinician employee, someone like that, goes in and says, I've got an asset or a device that I need to onboard or put in service. Or fast forward, I've got an asset or device that I need some corrective maintenance on, a break fix, something went wrong and I need some help to submit and create a case and create work orders and track all that. The next two personas are what we call in our fulfiller role or fulfiller persona. This is someone who I'll show you shots of. It could be working from a laptop or a workspace. ServiceNow is a cloud-based platform. And you could have some of these end users who are on the provider side or the hospital side who are working through the cases, approving them, reviewing them, escalating them, assigning them. Then you also have, which I'll show you in the demo as well, a mobile fulfiller. These are the techs in the field who are using their mobile devices to perhaps document the work that they're doing, even scan codes and barcodes to identify and make sure they're working on the correct asset, and then have all the work assigned to that asset that they're working on. And lastly, we have a set of very deep and flexible reports and dashboards, deep in that you can pull in whatever data you want, whether it lives in ServiceNow or flexibly in other applications, and you can have ServiceNow reports and dashboards point to those, and then really kind of eye-popping visualizations that can be dynamically drilled into and that kind of thing. So with that, I'm going to actually flip over to the demo. I'm going to end the slides here. And we're going to start the demonstration by showing first a couple of just examples of the requester perspective or persona. So here we have an employee center portal. This is a place where your clinicians and non-clinicians can come in to just get basic information about where they might need to go to submit a case for corrective maintenance, or if they're an employee who needs to do onboarding. So some people have vendors or external entities, but you could even have your own internal folks who have their own special portal to come in and say, you know what, I need to create a medical device in service or other type of case. All these environments are fully configurable. You can add what you want, change what you want, update branding. All these things they're so versatile. Then let's say I'm a clinician, fast forward in time, I've got my own portal where I want to use a clinician concierge. We know the word portal has come to take a lot of meanings in healthcare from a patient and clinician perspective. So we refer to them, or I refer to them rather, as concierges. This is where you get the white glove service for some of your employees who might need specific or specialized communities or knowledge bases or catalogs to procure and request things or support services. In this example, we're going to use a portal to help us create a medical device case. So there might be something specific to medical devices or assets. So this is another flavor of it. But ultimately, we all land in the same place where we are able to submit a case. And this is the one that I'm going to walk through, a case that there's a major leak with a hemodialysis machine in this particular story for this particular persona. So that's what I'm working on here, a major leak. This is a case that's been created. I can provide attachments, photos, videos. I can even say, here's where it is. So if your techs need to use GPS to get there, they can do that as well. So all these different characteristics or different components. Lastly, before I jump to the workspace or fulfiller persona, is I can also do this within my EHR. So here's a mock-up that we have of an EHR. I can actually, within the EHR workflow, because ServiceNow is a system of action, we're able to come in here and actually open requests and actually create new incidents or new cases right from the EHR workflows, if that's something you guys want to have configured for your organization. So this is the requester side of the house where I'm able to create a ticket. And again, I've created this ticket here, which we'll come back to in a moment. So now I'm flipping the script to go to a fulfiller workspace. So I'm a different user. I'm this person, Carol Coughlin, and I've got this major leaking case to work on. Now, this workspace can also be fully configured to reflect what I need to see, what needs to be top of mind for me. I can even have reports and dashboards and visualizations baked into this workspace here. I can even have my schedule or calendar or other different workspaces linked to here as well. So I'm going to go into this case right here, this major leaking case that we're going to work on for this demo. And here's the case detail here. Now I've got a playbook configured to tell me exactly what I need to do for this particular case. And these playbooks can be configured to help us understand, hey, for a particular device, like a hemodialysis machine, you need to do X, Y, and Z. But for these other devices, that playbook could change a little bit, be specific to that asset, that device, or even that problem, depending upon how you all want to configure it. Now, when we look at the details for this, we have information about the particular device. We have the asset that it belongs to. Is it already assigned? That kind of thing. And now I've actually put in automations to automatically create work orders from that case. So now we've gone from a case to a work order, and this work order has been automatically assigned if we want to by skill, by location, by availability to a tech, so that this work can actually get done. So we see that this is assigned. Pertinent details and information for that case that was submitted come through to the work order, can be propagated, and we have communication and activity channels that can then help us understand exactly what's going on for this particular case. And then lastly, we have specific work order tasks that have been created for this work order. So a single work order may have multiple tasks. Some organizations have a one-to-one where each work order equals one task. Here we have it set up such that one work order can have multiple tasks. So I've got this specific work order task that's been assigned to this user, Teddy Taylor. It's a break fix incident for this hemodialysis machine, and it's at this location. Again, you can configure the fields, you can configure the workflows. Everything is fully supported especially from a low code and no code standpoint. And it's very flexible. Here I am as a physician with this computer science background, yes, but I'm able to build all this relatively quickly, and not only for demos, but we have some of our partners who look at demos that we do, and they actually incorporate it into their implementation plans if it's appropriate. So we've got this work here. And so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to flip to my mobile application and begin work on this. So let me go ahead and start sharing my mobile screen. Bear with me one moment. Okay, and in a moment, you should be able to see my mobile screen. And I can't see thumbs up or anything. So Nick or Sarah or someone, if you can let me know if you can see my mobile screen.
We can.
Perfect, thank you. So right here, I'm logged into my mobile ServiceNow agent app as Teddy Taylor, the technician to whom the leaking hemodialysis machine case or work order has been assigned. So I've got my work here. I see this device issue leaking profusely. But very quickly, before I jump into that, I want to point out a couple of different things in this app. Now, this is iOS, but it works the exact same way for your Android applications. Next thing I want to point out is we have this assigned here. But if I want to go in and choose work for myself, because I'm a team player, or that's the model that we have where we don't have work assigned, you go in and you assign it to yourself. I can come in here and here, look in my groups task, and I can pick any of these tasks here. You can see that there's a variety of information here, what's already being worked on, so I don't repick something else, or maybe I can go help someone out. And is there a prioritization here? What's breach? We have all these different kinds of criteria that we can, or attributes we can look at. Next, I can look at the schedule and see what's on the calendar for me today. I see that I've got this leaking issue. I see stuff in the past and the future. So I can go and look at the schedule and pick work in that way, select my work that way. And then last, just quick piece, I can look up, like I talked about with the scanning. So I can look over here and I can scan this particular asset here. It pulls up the hemodialysis machine. Now, this is important because many times we've heard from customers that, hey, when we're going in and doing our work, we get curbside consults a lot, like while you're here, can you look at X, Y, and Z type of requests? A lot of that work goes undocumented, or there's some customer service satisfaction issues, for example, saying, no, I can't work on it now, you need to submit a ticket. And the other side of it, and I've been on both sides, says, well, while you're here, can't you just do it? Do we really have to go through the red tape? Only because the documentation has to happen. So that's why we understand that's what techs do. But here I can create a work order on the fly and begin working. So not only am I getting the documentation, I'm also getting that excellent customer service for those people who need us to fix something right then and there and don't need to be rerouted to a machine to go submit a ticket. But back to the work of the day, I need to come and work on that particular hemodialysis machine that's leaking profusely. So I'm going to go and jump into that work order there. And this is when the clock starts ticking, at least from the agent side. The clock was actually ticking once the case was submitted. So when you look at time tracking, you can go from case submission to assigned to dispatched to accepted. So I'm going to do accepted here. I'm accepting this work. Time to now from accepted to starting travel. So now the time travel is being tracked. Now go from how much time do we spend traveling before we went to actually start work. So now I'm going to start the work. So all these are these timestamps are captured. Now I'm working on the actual asset, working on the issue. I can request parts. I can look at related information. I can create part requests, swap parts, remove parts, create part requirements, use part, remove part. Let's go back into there. I can also now, for example, take a questionnaire. Many of our organizations say, hey, while you're here, and this is optional, but you can make it mandatory, you need to document X, Y, and Z before you close out a particular task, before you close out the work. So here for this hemodialysis machine, I might need to put in some solute readings, maybe some electrical, things like impedance and resistance. Is the device working? And then share a photo or a video demonstrating that it's actually working. Let's assume I went ahead and completed all that. I'm going to go ahead and do submit. And we're done with the questionnaire there. And we're going to go back to our work and we're going to close complete. Now, at the close complete status, I can create a follow-up task if I need to say, yeah, I fixed this, but something new popped up. but I can also provide the closure notes, the details. Now, this is where it's important to where we could use our GenAI capabilities. And these are the notes that I've actually texted to myself. I went and researched what are the different tasks that have to be completed to fix a leaking hemodialysis machine. This specific model, in fact, is specific for Fresenius model. So I looked that up and I'm going to paste it here. Now you can imagine we have someone who might be copying and pasting, but this could be someone who's typing it out, a tech who's typing it out. Could also be a tech who's dictating it, and this is being captured, and this is the work that I've done. Now, this is important here because this is the raw notes, right? These are the raw pieces of information that the technician is sharing about the work that he or she did. I'm going to go ahead and put that information in here and close this task. So this work has been completed. I've completed this. I've documented it. Perhaps I've even done a curbside set of work, but I can go in and look at this particular asset if I want to, and I can see, is there any other work that has to have been done for this particular item? What else needs to be done? What are some related activities? What other work has to be done? And so we can do all those different digging down, drilling down to create new tasks, record additional work, all sorts of things there. So what I'll do now is I'm going to actually end this particular piece of it and show you what this looks like on the back to the workspace view. Just to confirm, Nick, if you wouldn't mind confirming, are you guys able to see the workspace view again?
We can.
Perfect. So let's just close out this work that we didn't see what it looks like from this perspective. Now we've seen this case or work order from the requester perspective. We saw it initially from this agent perspective where I'm assigning it and routing it. We've seen it from the tech perspective where the work's been completed and documented. So now let's take a look at it from the back to the workspace view or the fulfiller persona. So now we see the work that's been done, and we see the closure notes, everything looks good. Well, here's the GenAI summary, summarizing all this into layman's terms. This is important not only to have it propagated here, but more importantly, this has been propagated and conveyed back to, and let me go back to those requests here. Back to that case that was initial. So this is a leaking profusely case, and we see that the work's been completed. This summarizes Teddy's notes, the technician's notes, the gauges, and Teddy discovered the gauges were not functioning properly, loading pressures exceeding, and so forth. So all the notes that I put in raw have been converted using our GenAI case summarization capabilities. And then this system has automatically detected that and said, hey, this issue, this case for this machine was identified, the issues you specified, and it's been fixed. So the corrective maintenance process has been completed safely, accurately. Please contact us or create a new corrective maintenance. So all of this has been propagated to the customer or to the person who initiated the case, but it's also propagating from a record keeping standpoint. Here's the work order task that was actually completed by Teddy, the technician. So it's been propagated here to the work order task. It's also been propagated here to the parent work order. So here's the same, the text describes and so forth. So the exact same language has been propagated there to the work order. And it's also been propagated to the initial case level. So now we're at the case level, and we see from a case resolution standpoint, here's the GenAI notes and then the resolution notes. So no matter where you go in this system, you're able to go and see that the work's been completed, by whom, and what was the specific tasks, and you can pull it up at the work order level, the work order task level, and the case level as we see here. So it's all propagated, all connected, all related. Lastly, before I conclude the demo, I'm going to go ahead and close this out and just show you all this work that can be tracked. So now we've got the clinical engineering dashboard because it's a clinical engineering device. We've got specific device visualizations and data metrics. If you've got some IP listening and some cybersecurity listening, or Medigate, for example, is one of our partners, you're able to look at that by those types of alerts, by location, by different kind of assets. And then we are also able to look at our work orders based upon work orders that have been completed. How long is it taking us to complete them? How many do we have open? And so forth. So that's it from a demo standpoint. Went through a lot of content there, and thank you all again for participating and for giving me the time, and looking forward to hopefully connecting with some of y'all in the future. Back to you, Nick.
Thank you. So, I will share my screen to conclude this. Give me 1 second.
All right, Nick, you want me to take just the next couple slides?
Take us home, Mike. Thank you.
All right, so hopefully what everybody saw on there is how everything comes together. It's a great demo. And I love that we had some of the GenAI pieces actually shown within that demo. And so this is a slide. I actually have 3 of these slides. I'm only going to talk about the provider one just because of time. I don't want to leave some time for Q&A. But we will show the other 2 slides in just a second. So when I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning of this call where Nick was talking about the platform. And so one of the things that's really unique about ServiceNow is we have really never passed along technical debt off to our customers, meaning that every acquisition that we've made over our existence, when we buy the company for either the people or their capabilities, we actually rewrite all their code. It usually takes us about a year. Once we rewrite that code, we know that our technology is going to work across all of those different pieces, whether it's IT, employee, or customer facing. And so it helps us as we think about our customers on all the different places that we can bring GenAI forward. So where you see on this, how we're going to leverage it, whether that's hospital/clinical operations, the patient navigation that you saw earlier on, this idea of how do you summarize what was in the case or even in the chat? How do you raise that as an insight? And then really what we're doing is removing all of the different places that people have to capture knowledge. And we're removing all the places that then somebody has to search for knowledge by bringing those things to the forefront. And because we have one platform, one architecture, one data model, when we bring those things forward, we can not only bring it just into ITSM, but we can bring it into CSM, and then we can bring it into our industry products as well, because it's all being powered by the same core part of our platform. And so these are just a couple different use cases. We'll make sure everybody gets a copy of the deck as well. If we go to the next slide, I think it's payer. Life sciences. So on life sciences, same thing, whether think research or productivity. I'm sure everybody that just saw, with the demo we went through, wow, look at if those insights can just be gathered and then presented through the AI, how much time is going to be saved. And the other part is what we see with our customer base is it's not always, the customers many times struggle to gather those insights. And then even though it's documented in the system, how do you bring those things forward? And so productivity for the research and development, commercialization of and drug safety, all of those different layers, you're going to see this consistent piece of Now Assist, knowledge summarization, and then like the bottom part that we had called out text the playbook, we did not show that in the demo, is we have additional capabilities as we've been working through this that'll say, if you know what you want to write, so for example, like think ChatGPT style, being able to go and generate the workflow off of that or the playbook itself and give you a starting point that is just that much further along. So what's awesome about it is where traditionally, you would have to go and come up with those ideas, or you would be looking for my product team to go and come up with every playbook. We're going to come up with a lot of them, but you're going to be powered then to go and keep bringing that one step further. The last slide on payer, and I know some folks on the call today probably have a focus of, the payer part of the equation. We have many payer customers, as you saw in that first slide, more than 120. And so examples where we've seen other customers have success and where we see GenAI having a great role to play within the platform is around exceptions, whether that is exceptions in the prior authorization process, exceptions in with claims as they're making it through the auto adjudication process. We have seen customers over the years leverage the platform to actually work on those things. This is going to superpower it. So I think that's the last slide. Nick, I'll hand it back to you to close us out. And then again, if there's any other questions, please feel free to throw them in the chat or in the Q&A section.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Before we conclude, I do think that there was a couple questions that came up during the GenAI slides.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and answer them.
Thank you. Yeah, so thank you everyone again for your time. as a follow-up, like Mike mentioned, we'll be sending out the content. So you will have a copy of the information that was presented today. And don't hesitate to reach out to either myself or your current account executives that you work directly with to schedule a follow-up. If there's anything that you would like to deep dive, discuss your current healthcare strategies, and identify maybe a starting point, a use case you'd like to see demoed out or talked about extensively, feel free to reach out to us, and we're more than happy to support. So with that, I will pass it back over to Caresoft, and again, really appreciate the hour.
Maybe I'll just touch on the GenAI question that was in there. So we have a deep partnership with NVIDIA. NVIDIA is actually about, I don't know, 3 blocks away from our headquarters, where many of our product teams sit, beyond our teams in India and beyond. And so we've been working. So where it says on the GenAI piece, it's our GenAI. We have our own large language models that we are supporting, especially as we work with especially government organizations around the world that want to keep things internal. We've also done work with Hugging Face and OpenAI and a number of those other pieces. But we are not using somebody else's AI to do this work. We built our own. And back to the acquisitions that we made over time, about 3 years ago, we bought a company called Element AI out of Canada. And that Element AI, if you've ever seen our Doc and Tell product, which takes I think OCR intelligence that can take any paper-based piece that then put into an image and then generate and pull workflows out of that image. That was a number of years ago. We continued on, but it is our own GenAI.
Okay, thank you, Mike. I'd like to thank all of our participants as well as our speakers for being with us today. We hope this information you received during this webinar has been helpful. If you have any further questions or would like to request more information, please feel free to reach out. Thank you again and have a great day.